Good morning and welcome back to the LAMDA log. This is week 5, day 5, Friday, the 5th of June, 2026. So we started bright and early, 9 a.m. with ensemble singing. James wasn't there, but he he told a student to pass out an assignment. And so what we did is we picked a painting, and we chose The Music Lesson by some painter, starts with an M. They're all by the same painter. Can't remember their name though. Then we made a song out of it. And so, we first made a soundscape and then we made a song. I'll see if I can attach those on here because I have some recordings. So I'll see if I can attach those at the end. And then we had movement with Nicoletta. We warmed up. We stepped into space. And then we learned this body movement. Let me see if I can do it because there's no way. I have no idea how to do this because it's on the ground. Let's see. I don't even think I have enough space in my room. Okay, I'm gonna do my best. So you start here on the ground, just on your back. Oh no, that's wrong. You start on your knees and in child's pose, and then you come up, and then you go back down, and then as you go down, you get to your side, and then you'd flatten all the way out, which I can't do. And then you go like you're going that way, and then you wouldn't, and then you come back, and then you go up on one leg, and then you come back down, and then you're all the way flat. And then, this is so hard. And then as you're going, and this is all like in one line, you go up on your shoulder and your legs, and then you go flat on your belly, and then you turn round here. And then from here, you go ba, 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 to up. More or less. But we did this movement sequence, and we did it to different beats and different tempo songs. And then we explored it like we were in love and thinking about Macbeth if we wanted to. And then we did it with thinking about that imprint and that side of things. And then we took more liberties and we saw how the form was just an outline or a sketch or a skeleton. And then we made it our own. And then we discussed what we explored. And we introduced the idea of motifs. And so we created a repeatable small movement and 5 movements for motif. Back up. My motif was as Macbeth. And so first it was like with a spear killing someone. And then turning to see the witches. Whoa. And then I see a dagger in the air. And then I grab it. And then I stab Duncan. And then I take his crown and I put it on my head. And then and then I send all the people to die, you die, you die. And then I'm looking and I'm chasing for the witches, and then I feel strong and I'm like, I did it. And then my wife dies. And then I came down on my knee and I'm like, oh no, you died. And then I look and there's Macduff, and then I die and I fall over. And then we took that motif and we expanded it. Well, first we presented them to the class 3 times in repetition and 3 at a time. And then we deconstructed it and amplified it into a full like choreography of sorts. So from one motif, you can read an entire choreography, expand on the ideas and explore it. And so the spirit text became multiple ones, and then a full stop for all the witches. And then I saw daggers everywhere, and I finally grabbed one, and I was trying to kill Duncan in all the places. And then I took the crown, but the crown was everywhere, and I was searching for it. And then everyone dies. And then I was looking everywhere for the witches, but then I was settled in my pride, and then death was everywhere. And then it ended with my death. And then we had lunch. And for Tamsin's class after lunch, I was in charge of a section of the warm up, so I did that. And mine was the kind of from medium tabletop ground to standing. And so what I wrote down, and I kind of wrote this down during lunch, was I was focusing on breath, and I went from tabletop with cat-cow, really feel that expansion and opposition, the twirl, as a student mentioned it, and then gurning with it, and then into child's pose, into upward dog, into walking the dog, a forward fold with the breath, and then spinal roll, focusing on each vertebrate while shushing, and then breathing into it, and then pause on the in-breath, and then I don't know what this is. Bounce. Bounce, shake your twist arms, kind of like settling yourself, then open up your ribs and stuff. And then primal phonated breath. And then, yeah. And then but before all of that, we passed a sound and a gesture like telephone. Then we went into our warm up. And then we walked the space and did some tongue twisters. One of the students had a great one, which was la ga la. La ga la ga la ga la ga la ga 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 la ga la. He's so fast at it. It's the laga 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 laga. I cannot do it anywhere near close. I did a big black bug bit a big black bear, and the big black bear bled blood. And then someone said a box of mixed biscuits and a biscuit mixer. A box of I can't do this one. A box of mixed biscuits. A box of mixed biscuits and a biscuit mixer. I need to do a lot more tongue twisters because I always struggle with them. And then we picked a phrase from one of our lines, and I did consider, madame, I am doubly a prisoner, first to the arms of your generals and your more conquering eyes. My first chancery. Oh, no, I think I just did that part. And then we spoke it into the space, and then we said it to a partner at the same time. And then we did an exercise where we followed the impulse to speak and entered the space to speak it, depending. Repeated the word in the past. And the one that gave a sample. So somebody speaks and they say, to be or not to be, that is the question. And then someone else comes in. Be. Consider, madame, I am doubly a prisoner first to the arms of your generals and your more conquering eyes. And then someone could be like, general, blah, 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 whatever line. And then, yeah, so we were all kind of in the space, and then we were stepping in to it for that. And then we did that same thing with some scenes, because there were 3 people who were in scenes in their projects together. And then we had a little 3-minute break, and then we did a resonance warm-up, and we really focused on the mask and the tongue out. Kind of releasing the jaw while really getting in that. And then we had French classical, and we reviewed how we're doing the performance, like the order that we're doing a lot of it in. And then we got new casting for our little intro, which is a scene from Cyrano. And I am now Marquis, not the man. And then we had 20 minutes for a line run and clarifying our tops and tails, like the beginning and the ending of the scenes and our entrances and exits and how that all fits together. And then you should be ready to do the scene in any order. We ran through the tops and tails with our entrances and exits. We went last, but the other group doing hypochondriac will be the actual last in the performance. And I think this is our order. I think it's Le Cid in English, then Le Cid in French, then Berenice, then Phaedra, then Don Juan, then Tartuffe, then Hypochondriac. Notes are remembered to open up for the audience, and it's getting better. Hey, we love that. Then this was a really busy weekend, so I'll also mention that on Saturday, the 6th of June. I met up with one of the people that I'm helping them out for their thesis, that I'm playing Lady Mar, a Scottish woman. And she was Annabelle Mary, Countess of Mar. James, King James, was raised by Lady Mar practically. Mary, the Queen of Scots. She was the lady in waiting for Mary, Queen of Scots. Popular with she was popular. That was popular with like large supporters, but not with James's supporters. And then until James was 12, the regents were ruling Scotland. Lady Mar is reported to not shout out Sandridge. Is reported to not being a mother figure, but in at least for the sake of this play, she's very much going to be a mother figure. And she was very much a Protestant and a Scottish folklore kind of believer. So Lady Mar was a constant in his life, and George Buchanan was very critical of Lady Mar, and he also beat James. And so, yeah. And then at the end of the day, I watched The Man Outside, which was one of the rep shows that the E's and C's are doing. Interesting. Wasn't yeah. It was this interesting, very Brechtian kind of approach to it, where you just saw it how it was, and it was more about the lesson you can learn than the art of it. Yeah. And then on Sunday, the 7th of June, I helped out with another person's thesis, answering the question about like who can tell what stories and why. Really focusing on cultural and racial importance. Like if one of the examples was about a Korean man who wrote a story about like 5 Korean boys who escaped North Korea, and then that play was performed by a school, and so it was a bunch of kids, and they're like all white English kids, and so the writer and person was all involved, and that was able to get this story out, and so just all those questions, and it was really interesting and fascinating, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, the conversation. But such is life. Anyway, that was my weekend, and we are back at it Monday every day. It's great. Anyway, love you lots. We're doing good work. Bye.
Ba boom. Ba boom ba. Ba. Ba.
whoosh, 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 whoosh. The birds are singing. Whoosh, 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 birds are singing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
When I sing, the birds sing along.
Ha ha ha.
When I sing my own song, my
Mom says go on. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.